Okay.
Michael Arata, featured artist.
Right. My name is Michael Arata. I'm one of the featured artists. About the art. Now, but many components to this art. For example, the paintings over there, that's an obstacle course piece. And those paintings are designed, or they're based on the idea of preventing spam from getting in your email account. So they're meant to block the spam, and they're meant to be obstacles. And that's only for spam, though. So I've created another obstacle course that was all about your navigations and your goals in life, which is a three-dimensional obstacle course, which is painted the same way as that, but it's the one that's in the catalog. Interactive,
okay.
and people get to roll discs through it in order to score goals, which happen to be their goals. I assume their goals in life. Yeah, it's an interactive piece, and this piece is actually meant to be interactive as well. As whenever I show it in a gallery, or if I were to, I would supply screw guns with it so that you could unscrew these pictures or these paintings from the wall and then reassemble the whole thing in any other fashion that you want. It all fits together in any way that you choose.
So as far as those sell all as one piece all together?
You know, I have sold parts of it.
I'm not even. It might not even be for sale. I don't know.
It is for sale, but it would be great if it was all in one piece. But I have sold parts of it. There are parts gone already that I've sold, and I make them buy. If someone wants to buy it, they need to buy a minimum of 3, so that they can move them in different configurations, so that it is never the same. And I recommend buying different size ones too, so that you get large ones, small ones, and they should be rotated constantly, so that it's new art. It's constantly new art and new shapes, so that nothing is ever the same and it's not stagnant, and it can fit into any kind of configuration that you choose for it to fit into.
I suppose you could rig up some kind of motor in the wall.
No, you don't want to do that, because that takes the fun out of it. You really
want to move them yourself.
You want to move them yourself. You want this to be an activity, a physical activity, because we don't do enough of that kind of stuff anymore, that when you're actually engaged rather than being the audience. This makes you into the audience and to the active participant by doing that. And the sculpture, the floor pieces or the two vessels, cruise ships. The cruise ships, those are based on the Achille Laurel and the terrorist attack on the Achille Laurel.
Oh, terrible, those, yeah.
And so that's why they're sinking cruise vessels, and they have the explosions and so forth.
Why were you? I mean, that took place
in 1985.
85. Why were you motivated to?
Because it was one of the first attacks on a civilian icon, I guess is what we would call it. In the Middle East, it happened to be, and they threw Leon Klingoff, or who was in a wheelchair at the time, off the boat.
Awful. Kind of a landmark in the, I guess, history of terrorism.
For me, it was when I became aware of how people were going to react in the world, and that they were going to be violent, and that there was going to be terrorism in order to get their point across, no matter if they were killing innocent people. And being the fact that it was a leisure cruise line, it had no military significance at all, so it was completely defenseless, basically. So they attacked something that was completely defenseless to make a statement. And that was one of the first times that had happened. Previous to that, it was always either political or a military target.
Yeah. That's right.
And so that's why the title of those are military targets, where civilians become military targets now. And that was that was 25 years ago. And these are actually renditions for pieces that I did at that time in 1985. I had already rebuilt these things.
Are they colored the same way, the other ones?
The other ones are red and white, like the stripes up there. And the red and white checkerboard stripes comes from military installations where they use that pattern in outbuildings. You can find it at airports even. You'll find that if you fly over an airport and you see the little radar stations out in the field, you'll find that checkerboard pattern, the red and white checkerboard patterns that they have there.
Well, that's fascinating. A lot of artists would just like the color red and use red.
Yeah,
For
I chose it
aesthetic
because
reasons. It's interesting,
its source,
significance, symbolism.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, and then previous to that, people always thought it was a Purina dog chow thing because they used the checkerboard pattern commercially.
Right.
But it had nothing to do with the Purina dog chow, okay? Or mink chow or whatever kind of chow they make. And then the submarine was, that's something that was completely out of context here because that was another project that I was working on. After I built these military targets, then I decided to do an installation that never came to fruition, which was called, I was going to title Sea Battle at San Marco Square, Italy, right? But
what does that refer to?
It.
What does that refer to?
That was all about the same idea that it was an innocent target that could be a terrorist location,